Have you ever paused to consider that the very exercises you've embraced to keep your heart strong, to stay vital and independent, might actually be working against you? It's a troubling thought, isn't it? We're often told that any movement is good movement, especially as we navigate our golden years. But what if some popular, even celebrated exercises are secretly placing an undue burden on your heart, particularly after the age of 60? Could the path you believe leads to strength be, in some cases, a detour towards unforeseen risks? It's a question many of us haven't dared to ask. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this very notion. We'll explore 5 types of exercises that, while beneficial for some, might need a second look, perhaps even a firm stop, for those of us dedicated to preserving our heart health well into our senior years. And more importantly, we'll uncover safer, heart-kind alternatives. So if you're ready to empower yourself with knowledge that could truly make a difference to your well-being, stay with me. Perhaps you could even share this with a friend or family member who might also benefit. And if these insights resonate, a simple like or a comment would mean the world. It helps us reach more people searching for these truths. 1. The siren song of high-intensity interval training. A hidden hazard. You've likely heard the buzz, haven't you? High-intensity interval training, or HIIT. It's touted everywhere, from fitness gurus on social media to well-meaning articles promising rapid results, a turbocharged path to fat loss and a stronger heart. The idea of short, intense bursts of activity followed by quick rests sounds efficient, modern, almost like a shortcut to vitality. Many seniors, eager to feel energetic and robust, are drawn to it. But here's where we must pause and ask, is this really the wisest choice for a heart that has faithfully served us for 6, 7, or even 8 decades? Think about it. An aging heart, while still capable of incredible resilience, has different needs. Over the years, subtle changes, perhaps a little stiffening here, a touch of unnoticed plaque there, maybe blood pressure that's become a bit more temperamental, can make it less adaptable to sudden, extreme demands. It's not about weakness, it's about a different kind of strength, one that values steady endurance over jarring sprints. Imagine forcing an older, cherished engine to go from 0 to 60 in a few seconds repeatedly. Could it do it? Maybe, but at what cost? HIIT forces your heart into these abrupt, high-gear shifts. For a younger, more pliable system, this might be a beneficial stressor. But for many seniors, particularly if there's an undiagnosed underlying condition, and how many of us might have one lurking silently, this can be like playing Russian roulette with your cardiovascular system. The sudden spikes in heart rate and blood pressure can strain the heart muscle, potentially destabilize its rhythm, or even dislodge plaque in arteries that were quietly minding their own business. You might finish a HIIT session feeling a surge of accomplishment, but what if the real story unfolds hours later? A fleeting dizziness, an unusual wave of fatigue, a passing tightness in the chest, easily dismissed as just getting older, right? But could these be your heart's quiet whispers, signaling it's been pushed too far? The tragic irony is that an exercise pursued for health could, if we're not careful, become the trigger for a problem we never saw coming. This isn't to say all intensity is bad, but this kind of abrupt peak and valley intensity warrants serious caution. So, what's the heart's smarter path? Think gentle, consistent effort. Activities like brisk walking, where you can still hold a conversation. Allow your heart rate to elevate gradually, improving circulation without that shocking demand. Consider Tai Chi. Its slow, flowing movements are wonderfully deceptive in their power to enhance balance, reduce stress, a huge factor in heart health, and gently work your cardiovascular system. Or what about swimming or water aerobics? The water supports your joints while providing a beautiful, low-impact workout. These aren't just easier options. They are often wiser options, nurturing your heart, not ambushing it. Before jumping into any new intense routine, wouldn't it be prudent to have a conversation with your doctor, perhaps even a simple checkup to understand your heart's current landscape? 2. The pressure cooker. Rethinking core crunches and heavy lifting all want a strong core, stable muscles, the ability to lift and carry with confidence. And strength training undoubtedly is a pillar of healthy aging. It supports our mobility, helps prevent those dreaded falls, and keeps us independent. But have you ever considered what really happens inside your body during certain common strength moves, like traditional crunches, sit-ups, or when you strain to lift a very heavy weight? When you perform these exercises, especially if you find yourself holding your breath, that classic Valsalva maneuver many do without even realizing it, you're creating a significant surge in pressure within your abdomen and chest. This isn't just your muscles working, it's like an internal pressure cooker. And this pressure doesn't just stay put. It can compress major blood vessels, making your heart strain immensely to pump blood against this sudden, powerful resistance. For a younger heart, perhaps this is a temporary, manageable challenge. But what about for a heart that's seen more seasons? Arteries that might have lost some of their youthful elasticity, or that might be carrying a bit of plaque, can find these sudden pressure spikes incredibly taxing. I've heard stories, and perhaps you have too, of individuals feeling dizzy mid-crunch or experiencing chest discomfort after a set of sit-ups. These aren't necessarily people who are out of shape. They are often dedicated seniors trying to do the right thing, unaware of the internal strain they're creating. The truth is, our cardiovascular system becomes less forgiving as the years pass. It doesn't adapt to these sharp changes in pressure as readily. Think of it. Could this be why sometimes, after what seems like a normal exertion, one might feel an odd palpitation or an uncharacteristic weariness? It's not about avoiding strength, but about finding smarter ways to build it. What if, instead of those jarring crunches, we explored gentler yet highly effective core strengtheners? Modified planks, where you hold a steady position, engage your core deeply without that dangerous pressure spike. Pelvic tilts are another fantastic, often underestimated exercise. And when it comes to lifting, could resistance bands or lighter weights, focusing on controlled movements and proper breathing, offer the same benefits without the high-stakes pressure game? It's about working with your body, not against its natural wisdom. It's a subtle shift, isn't it? But one that could make all the difference in protecting that precious heart of yours. 3. The temperature trap. When your workout environment works against you. Now, let's consider something often overlooked: the very air around you when you exercise. We focus so much on what exercises to do, but where and when can be just as critical, especially for heart health after 60. Have you ever felt unexpectedly drained or even a bit breathless exercising on a very hot day? Or perhaps felt your chest tighten on a frosty morning walk? As we age, our body's internal thermostat, its ability to regulate temperature, becomes a bit less efficient. It's a natural part of the journey. In extreme cold, your blood vessels constrict to conserve heat. This is a smart survival mechanism, but it also means your blood pressure can rise, and your heart has to pump harder to circulate blood. If your heart is already managing conditions like hypertension or some coronary artery narrowing, this extra workload imposed by the cold can be surprisingly stressful. It's not just the walk, it's the walk in the cold. Conversely, on a scorching hot day, your body does the opposite. Blood vessels dilate to try and release heat. This means your heart has to beat faster, sometimes much faster, to maintain adequate circulation. And then there's dehydration, a sneaky culprit that affects seniors more quickly, often because our thirst signals aren't as strong as they once were. Dehydration thickens the blood, making the heart work even harder. Imagine a leisurely stroll in the summer heat could be asking more of your heart than you realize. It's fascinating, isn't it? How the environment itself can become an invisible workout partner, or sometimes an adversary. These aren't issues that only plague athletes. Even moderate activity in extreme temperatures can pose a risk. It's about being mindful that your heart is responding not just to your movement, but to the world around it. So, what's the practical approach here? It's about choosing your battles wisely. If it's fiercely hot or bitingly cold, could an indoor workout be a better choice that day? A climate-controlled gym? A gentle routine in your living room? If you love the outdoors, perhaps timing your walks for the cooler parts of the day in summer or dressing in warm, breathable layers in winter becomes paramount. And hydration, oh, it's not just a suggestion, it's a lifeline. Sipping water before, during, and after, even if you don't feel acutely thirsty. These small, conscious choices can transform your exercise from a potential gamble into a consistent, heart-healthy practice. 4. The perils of sudden stops, starts, and jumps. There's a certain appeal to exercises that feel dynamic and energetic. Quick jumps, rapid directional changes, perhaps those explosive movements you see in some fitness classes. They can make you feel youthful, agile, like you're defying age with every leap. And the intention is wonderful, to stay vibrant and capable. But let's consider what these quick, jarring movements ask of a body that's gracefully matured. As we age, several subtle shifts occur. Our nervous system might not process rapid changes as quickly as it once did. Our sense of balance, our proprioception, that amazing internal GPS telling us where our body is in space, can become a little less reliable. And as we've discussed, our arteries tend to become a bit stiffer. Now, introduce a sudden jump, a quick pivot, or an abrupt stop. Each jump sends a shockwave through joints that might be less cushioned than before. Each rapid twist challenges a vestibular system that's trying its best to keep you steady. And your heart? It's being asked to respond instantaneously to these demands, potentially causing erratic rhythms or unpredictable spikes and drops in blood pressure. What feels like a simple, energetic move can, for an aging system, be a complex and demanding series of negotiations involving coordination, circulation, and recovery. Think about it. Have you ever felt a moment of unsteadiness after a quick turn? Or perhaps noticed your heart flutter after a sudden exertion? These aren't necessarily signs of failing at an exercise. They might be your body's very reasonable communication that the type or pace of movement isn't quite right for its current capabilities. For seniors, especially if there are underlying, even mild, cardiovascular concerns, these high-impact, rapid-fire movements can unfortunately increase the risk of arrhythmias, or quite simply, a fall. And we all know a fall can be a game changer. and not in a good way. The beauty of movement in our later years often lies not in explosive power, but in controlled grace. What if we embraced exercises that cultivate strength and balance with more deliberation? Think of the flowing, mindful movements of Tai Chi, which we've mentioned. It's a powerhouse for balance and gentle strength. Or consider water aerobics, where the buoyancy of water protects your joints while still providing an excellent workout. Even simple, focused exercises like slow leg lifts or gentle torso twists can build stability and flexibility without those jarring impacts. It's about choosing activities that honor your body's journey, that build resilience without pushing it into a danger zone. 5. The late night workout, when good intentions steal precious rest. Finally, let's talk about a habit that seems so innocent, so disciplined, yet could be subtly undermining your heart health. Exercising too late in the evening. Many of us find our days packed, and that quiet window after dinner, when the world settles down, seems like the perfect time to squeeze in that walk or those stretches. It feels like a victory over a busy schedule, a commitment to staying active. But here's the hidden catch. What happens to your body's natural rhythms, especially your sleep, when you engage in physical activity too close to bedtime? Sleep, as we know, becomes more precious and sometimes more elusive as we age. Our internal body clock, our circadian rhythm, becomes more sensitive. Exercise, even moderate activity, is inherently stimulating. It raises your heart rate, increases your core body temperature, and can trigger the release of alerting hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. These are all fantastic for powering through a workout, but they are precisely the opposite of what your body needs to wind down for a night of deep, restorative sleep. When you exercise late, you're essentially telling your body to wake up and be active just when it should be preparing for rest. The result? You might find it harder to fall asleep, or the quality of your sleep might suffer. You might not get as much of that deep, slow-wave sleep, which is so crucial for physical repair and mental rejuvenation. And what does this have to do with your heart? Everything. Chronic poor sleep or disrupted sleep is consistently linked to increased risks for cardiovascular issues, higher blood pressure, more inflammation, even irregular heart rhythms. Your heart, like every other part of you, needs that downtime during deep sleep to repair and recover from the day's demands. By exercising late, are we inadvertently cheating our heart out of this essential healing period? The solution isn't to abandon exercise, far from it. It's about timing it wisely. Could you shift that activity to earlier in the day? Morning or early afternoon workouts often align beautifully with our natural energy cycles and can even help reinforce a healthy sleep-wake pattern. This allows your body ample time to wind down in the evening. Imagine reserving your evenings for truly restful activities: gentle stretching, meditation, a warm bath, reading, things that signal to your nervous system that it's time for peace and restoration. It's a simple shift in timing, but one that could profoundly benefit both your sleep and your heart. Protecting your heart as you age isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about making conscious, informed choices that nurture your well-being. We've journeyed through some common exercise habits that, with the best intentions, might not be serving your heart as well as you thought. But with this awareness comes power. The power to choose differently, to move wisely, and to truly support your strength and vitality for all the years to come. Now, I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts. Has any of this resonated with you? Perhaps there's one insight one small adjustment that you feel you could bring into your own life. Sharing your reflections in the comments below can be incredibly helpful, not just for you, but for others on this journey. If this conversation has been valuable, please do consider liking this video, sharing it with those you care about, and subscribing for more insights into living your healthiest, fullest life. Thank you for joining me, and here's to many more years of heartfelt well-being.